Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Black and Abroad, an interview series highlighting the lived experiences of Black expats around the world. I am Kendall, your host, licensed therapist, and a fellow Black expat. And we have another great episode in store for you today. And I would like for you to welcome our newest guest, Harry Kennedy. Say hey, Harry.
Hello, how y'all doing, world? How's everybody today? Or morning, or wherever you are in the world.
Right. It's really early where you are. It's starting the early afternoon where I am.
Yeah, it's 5 a.m. over here. I'm in Belgium right now, so I know I'm starting to. My brain is still booting up, just like my computer was a few minutes ago. So but we'll make it work.
Right. I'm so gracious for you participating in the wee hours of the morning where you are. So I just want to give the world a little bit of introduction into you before we get into the meat of our conversation. Harry was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, a neighboring state to where I'm from, Texas, but he grew up in Dayton, Ohio. He's been living abroad in Belgium for the last 3 years, and he works in IT as an infrastructure administrator for an American company. That sounds extremely important. His boss surprisingly agreed to send him over after he jokingly asked to make the move. Harry has turned his experience abroad into a life-changing opportunity when he rediscovered his passion for learning languages. Harry has learned French and Dutch and is currently working on his fourth language. What is that? Which language is that?
I can't tell you just yet. And it's not because I don't want to tell you. I don't want to be secretive or anything, but I want to surprise a few friends of mine in a few months. So
okay, got it. I won't even mess up your flow. But he definitely does want to continue learning more languages in the future, and he hopes to be better connected with people in a way that they best understand it, which, having a business degree is really important to be able to communicate with people in a way that they feel comfortable. So I really appreciate your interest in trying to come to people as they are in their language, make them feel comfortable, lessen the communication divide. So once again, I want to welcome you, Harry, to Black and Abroad. How are you this early morning?
I'm doing well. Like I said, normally I would be asleep, but you extended the gracious invitation for an interview that I couldn't refuse. So I always let us share my story. So I'm happy to reach somebody if I can. So
of course,
that's the goal here, hopefully.
It is. The goal is definitely to share our stories in a safe space, obviously talk about mental health and our journeys into living abroad. And that's very different for everyone. I think it's more so to show like people in the world that have an interest to see that it is a possibility and it doesn't have to be this complicated thing. That there are a vast array of opportunities to start your journey as an expat. It just really depends on what you're interested in and doing the grunt work to get it done. So I really appreciate it. And it was something I was thinking about earlier is with you being in IT, I know that, well, I don't know much, but I know that technology is obviously here to stay. It's a growing market. And I definitely like for you to expound upon, how you got into the field. What do you think the future of it looks like as far as being more diversified and opportunities for people? So that'll be part of our conversation, hopefully.
Oh, perfect. Me getting into IT. So I started when I was about 11. Okay. So I've always had like that mindset of that techie mindset. I was always curious about how things worked. And I remember just my mom coming home one day, she brought home a desktop computer, and a friend of hers basically came over. He did some hard drive swaps and things like that. And I'm just, standing there looking like this, right. Just asking him a million questions. Okay, what's this? What's this? What's that? What does this thing do? And so that was kind of the birth of my interest in technology back then. And so, I was on the internet, searching, different ways, different things to do things with a computer, on the technical side, just in the neighborhood. I used to collect computers, take them apart, put them back together and things like that. take home extra monitors and have just different setups around the house.
Oh,
My
wow.
mom,
Tony Stark.
yeah, my mom, she was very, very, she was happy for me, but I don't think she was happy about the amount of clutter I was kind of generating around the house. But no, that was kind of the birth of that. And then throughout school, we in English class, we would do reports, we would do different things about jobs and stuff. And I was like, I want to do something in tech, I want to do something in IT. And I don't know, I've always had it since I was about 13 or 14 that I wanted to, work with computer networks.
Right.
And so I basically followed that path through high school, through some career classes that I took. And then eventually that led to college and got the education and I found a job. So that's kind of my journey there. Now, I would say, for the future of tech in that kind of field, I think it's growing because, well, it's definitely not going to go away. It's more so of transforming. So you see a lot of things, as I talked about with PCs and physical hardware and things, everything's moving over to the cloud. And so with the cloud, you're still going to need to administer kind of the connections and accounts and things like that. So, and then one of the bigger things that, it's growing and growing is security. So you're always going to have a field or always going to have a need for people in security and some type of cloud systems administration, because now that the physical hardware is gone, you still have to manage it virtually. So one of the things that I'm also seeing too is that people without degrees are kind of coming more into it, and jobs are actually looking for people who don't necessarily have the degrees, but they have the skills. So obviously, yes. So obviously things like software development has been a huge thing. And I've even seen things, like I said, as far as the cloud administration with servers and things like that. So it's weird because, back in the early 2000s, when you got a job in IT, it was just basically, hey, are you good with computers? Yeah, I'm tech savvy. You were the tech guy then at that point. And then it was like they were requiring, you to have that bachelor's or that associates for however many years of this much experience. And now, yes, so now you're seeing that it's starting to slightly shift back to that. Okay, well, what kind of skills do you have, instead of so much of what your bachelor degree is or what degree did you get? So I don't know. It's very interesting to just watch it kind of unfold and I hopefully that people can kind of see that and understand it and try to, if they're interested in it, maybe find a niche or find that piece that they want to get into, because IT is broad. So find something they can that fits them and maybe they can get into it. So
wow, that's actually really interesting, that because I've always thought that you have to be this tech savvy individual to be able to enter into these types of industries and actually do well. But just to hear you say that it's more, you're noticing that there's more of a trajectory going into a skills base. Obviously, you need to have the people that have the credential, that have the knowledge, that deep knowledge of the industry. But I wonder, like, what it could look like for the future of people being able to pull themselves out of difficult situations or learn new skills, or even in underserved areas to teach these kinds of skills to students like yourself that are interested or may not even have access to these types of programs. I wonder what that could look like to grow the pipeline of more diverse talent.
As far as that outlook, so I'm not necessarily I'll say I'm not more so deep into, I guess, introducing that pipeline to those who want to get into it. I do know of a friend of mine. Basically, he's working with other people, and they're basically working to shed light on that. Get me in tech, Black in tech. There's a lot of social media hashtags buzzing around it. And to be honest, I found it just a few months ago, and I was like, interesting. Okay, I think it's great that that they're basically educating the community as far as what you can do and the different career tracks that you can take just to get into that. So
Right.
uh, I like the space and I love how it's booming. As
Yeah.
far as me contributing, I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still on this abroad spectrum, living
I
abroad.
hear you. So let's get into that, right?
Mhm.
Can you share with us, reading your bio, I know it sounded like you got into the expat life through a little bit of a joke. Um,
Mhm.
has this always been something that you thought about living abroad? What?
Okay, so when I kind of look back at when I look back at it, I do a lot of reflecting when I have the
Okay,
time.
that's a good.
Um, when I was a child, I used to always like look at encyclopedias and my mom, we would always go to the book, not the bookstore, but the library and, bring home books about, I like to eat. So I was always looking at, different foods in different countries. So, Italy, China, Japan, what are these people eating over there? So I'm like, ooh, the food's good, and so I've always had like an interest in kind of an international, culture, but obviously, the money wasn't there. So it was like I always thought that going to Paris and seeing Americans and people traveling abroad, that was for rich people. I didn't know
Mm,
that it was for
regular folk,
everyday average people and things like that.
right?
So I've always kind of had that, but it wasn't until I got my internship at the current company that I work for. So they ended up hiring me full time. But I didn't know anything about the company prior to the interview, and I ended up getting the internship, and they told me that they were an American company
Mhm.
and they had offices abroad, and so it's not a big company, it's a medium sized, but it's what is it, less than 300 people, but we are in 13 countries. So
Oh, wow.
um, what happened? Yeah, so that's kind of what opened my eyes, and I'm giving tech support to the Japanese, the Chinese people, to people in Belgium, Germany, and so it was kind of like, okay, this is nice, this is interesting. So I'm asking people, okay, so what is it like over in Europe? Do they speak English? Do they do this? And looking back at it, I'm like, okay, wow, I sound really ignorant because I didn't know anything. I didn't know, so
Right, which means lack of knowledge.
exactly, exactly. So, I'm asking everybody, and then I was like, wow, I really, really want to go. I really want to go on a trip.
Yeah.
And when they, so they extended me a job offer. Actually, they didn't even have an open position. I was offered the position.
Mm.
So that was kind of a reflection of my work there. Um, but no, they offered me the position, and I took it. And yeah, the time came for me to obviously travel abroad. I seen it and I'm like, wow, this is really different. This is new. This is cool.
Yeah.
First place I landed was Denmark.
Mm.
And I just remember I was like, man, I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. And I was like, I wonder what it would be like to actually live abroad. And I don't know, one day my boss was like, we have to hire an IT person in Europe. So, and I was like, nah, you don't have to do that. Just send me over. And he was like, is that something that you really want to do? I was like, wait, are you serious right now? Or are we joking? He was like, listen, if that's what you want to do, we can see what we can do. And I was like, hold on, let me think about it. My mind was made up, and like my
Yeah.
mind was already made up. But
Yeah.
I asked my mom, my sisters, all my friends. Everybody said go. Like, wait, why are you asking me this? You should go. You should take the
Yeah.
opportunity. And I was like, yeah, we kind of all on the same page, so I might as well go ahead and make that move. And yes, I was only supposed to be here for 6 months, and what I'm was it 3 years and counting, 3.5 years and counting, and I'm still here on borrowed time. So
Wow. So obviously there's something about where you are in Belgium that you really enjoy. I wonder, how do you think you've grown and matured as a person after, having made this decision to take such a leap of faith and live in another country?
um, I would say that. So again, looking back, I was so I'm a goofy guy. I was very animated. I'm very, happy and things like that, and uh, optimistic. Not saying that I'm not anymore, but what I've
Right.
noticed is that I'm a little bit more calculated, and I'm a little bit more calmer and calculated. Just being out here, because it's like I can't walk up to people, hey, how you doing? And or hey, excuse me. So I need to, I have to be a little bit more, I gotta tone it down a little bit, because well, the thing is that, I'm American, and we speak American English in the US. So
Right.
coming over to Europe and trying to speak American English to them, all animated and just big and everything, it's kind of like, well, number one, it's overwhelming. And I find that a lot of people are nervous when they're speaking to American, as compared to speaking to somebody else whose English isn't American. So I've learned to tone all of that stuff down. You know, I wasn't always so bad at reading a room, but I feel like I pick up on social cues a little bit better than I did prior. And I think that as far as like knowledge and just growing as a human, as a person, um, how have I matured? I don't know. I just grew up.
I mean,
I
I
kind
hear
of
you
shifted
saying,
out of it.
I hear that, right? I think obviously our personality can be a bit, concrete when it gets to a certain point. But what I also hear you saying is you become a lot more self-aware. Like your
Mm,
surroundings are different. The
mm.
environment that you're in is different, and how you're going to be received is different. So it's really knowing your audience and knowing that being animated back home or even at work is very different in some of these, culturally mysterious places, until you really get to know like nuances and how to connect with the audience that you're working with and still being authentic to yourself. So I'm wondering, were there
Mm.
any kind of internal battles and struggles that you went through as you began to, shift into this new way of being while you're living over there?
Of course. So, I like to talk. I'm a big talker when, especially when I get comfortable and things like that.
Right.
So I think one of the biggest struggles was kind of, learning how to say say less, but communicate more with less. So trying
Mm,
to figure out that balance of, okay, I don't need to fill in, the entire picture. I want that, I'm looking for a tree. I don't need to explain where the tree is, what type of day it is, all the animals and stuff that's climbing up and down a tree. I just need the
right.
tree. And I have to fight myself with that. And I will say that one of the things that has helped me is the languages, doing so, because, well, if for example, if I'm communicating something in Dutch, I don't need a million details, because, well, for number one, it's a little bit more difficult for me to kind of say all of those details. I didn't know all the details at the time. So it's like, okay, I got to be a little bit more direct here.
Right.
And I didn't like it, but it's, sometimes when you run into issues and when you run into problems, it's like, listen, it's either I'm gonna have to adapt, or I'm gonna stay getting frustrated. And obviously I chose to adapt. So
Right. Yeah, it sounds as if a classic case of acceptance, right?
mm,
Accepting that this is a reality that you've chosen, and how do you make it work for you in a professional context? I wonder, do you notice, like personally, not having to delve into what your personal life looks like or anything like that, but is it the same? Like, are you experiencing the same type of nuances as you forge personal connections with individuals in Belgium as well?
mm, I think I'm thinking about that a little bit, but not too much. One of the things that I have noticed is that most of my friends are actually Africans. So
So yeah,
it's kind of interesting, because it's like, well, no, I'm in a Belgian country, so I'm
right.
in Belgium. So like normally it would be with a bunch of Belgians. I do have Belgian friends, but I've noticed that a lot of my connections have been with just, you know, African guys, and I don't know. It hasn't been so difficult kind of engaging them. A lot of them engage me because you know, whether, you know, African, Belgian, don't matter who it is, because you know, I'm from the States, so everybody wants to know how life is over there,
Right.
you know, what's different here versus there. So I spend a lot of my time kind of just explaining different things like that. And I've noticed that, you know, a common ground is is sports or the culture, the music. Everybody loves our music and stuff like that. So um, I don't think that it's been as difficult, you know, to make friends just from that point of view, or form connections with people from that point, because, well, uh, I don't know, it's just been easy for me when it comes to that. But you know, if people don't know I'm from the U.S. or anything like that, or they don't really care, I see how it's just that much more difficult, because, you know, I gotta find a common point. I gotta find a commonality. You know,
Right.
something that, you know, that I'm into, and you know, that other person's into, so that we can kind of engage and
Right.
really move conversation forward.
Forge a connection, right? So
Mhm.
this is something that I tend to ask at the beginning of these conversations, but we dive right into tech, right?
Yeah.
If you were to, who would you say you are? You know, if you are introducing yourself to a stranger on the street, who would Harry Kennedy be?
Okay, Harry
Besides
Kennedy.
Techie.
Was that
Besides Techie.
besides Techie? Harry Kennedy is a person. Well, first of all, I always like to characterize myself as a Black American.
Mm,
I think that those titles are important because they need to know Black. That's Black, and then I come from the U.S. I'm not African. I have
yeah,
African roots, but I like to make that distinction
yeah,
just so that they know. But no, I'm an individual who enjoys, I guess, learning new things, meeting new people. I'm very social, and you know, I have sort of a curious mind, and you know, whether that be with people, I love meeting new people. I love you know, experiencing, I guess, life, and how, you know, how they see life, how they see things. I love to engage in you know, different topics of conversation. So I feel like, you know, you could talk to me about anything, and you know, any type of topic, whether it be, you know, one of those taboo topics, or something that people tend to, you know, get into those big arguments about and things like that. I'm the person who goes in. I'm like, listen, as long as, you know, as long as we're not attacking each other's you know,
right.
personal character, I'm good with it. We can talk about anything. We can disagree. You know, just obviously don't call me on my name, nothing like that. But I don't
Boundaries.
know. Exactly. But no, I'm that person that, you know, people tend to come to me and they talk to me about anything. So I kind of see that, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So again, I've accepted that, and all right, let's have a conversation. What you want to talk about today?
I like that. So you're a people person, magnanimous. Obviously, you're extroverted for sure.
Mhm.
Into technology, open to new experiences. How have these qualities that you've shared led you to, well, not even that. What do you think has been one of your more defining moments while living abroad, you know, while living your authentic life?
Uh, I would definitely say, so it would probably be at a festival. Um, so to be honest, when I first came here, I hated it. I didn't like it at
Why?
all.
Why?
Cause I was trying to fight the societal norms. I was like, why can't everybody just do everything you know, my way or the American way? Why do I have to do, you know, why do I have to do everything you know, their way? And I'm like, well,
Right.
came to that realization, I'm in their country. Say this isn't my country, so I kind of have to go with their flow. But no, you know, Belgian people, they're typically cold, and like if you don't know them, so it's not like so if you see a stranger on the street, I'm used to at least to have smile or at least
Right.
the
A
eye
head nod.
contact or something.
Right.
Yeah, they don't even look at you. They just you just another person, or you're not even there. You're just I don't know, an obstacle in their way. But
Wow.
what I found was that the boss here, the big boss here, he invited me to come to the festivals, which is kind of a big thing in Europe, is to go to a Belgian festival. It was like a rock festival though. So but it was that old school rock that them rock songs that you hear on the commercials in the
Well,
States.
like Bruce Springsteen and I
I,
don't
I
know.
I think so, but like them Apple commercials and the Pepsi commercials where they be playing that old school kind of rock kind of
Yeah.
songs in the background. It was that music. It was that type
Okay.
of music, and so I was like, this isn't really my thing, but I'm gonna try it. I went there, and Belgium also has a big beer culture, so
Uh-huh.
and the beers just kept coming in, just an unlimited amount. Uh, I'm listening. I'm like, wait, I know these songs, and so I'm rocking out with it. But at the same time, I'm looking around and I'm noticing, wow, these people are actually, they're really friendly, they're really embracing, and everybody was open. It was like that moment of where I was like, I'm accepted into the group. That was that moment here. We're like, wow, I'm here. This is great. I'm meeting new people, and I went on the campgrounds and everything. That's a whole nother story of itself, but I'm just walking around and, actually engaging, just random people, and everybody's kind of like, hey, how's it going? And stuff like that. And, I'm speaking, this was the point where I actually got to speak my Dutch, because I used to get real nervous to speak,
Right.
to people in a foreign language. And so I got my little liquid confidence in me, and going up, engaging people. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm from America. I'm here enjoying the time. Where y'all from? What do y'all do? And that was like the first time that I really was embraced by these people, and the group. So I would say that was probably one of the defining moments for me, because that's the thing that I was searching for, that I was missing, that I get back home real easy. But it was a different experience,
Right. And so it sounds as if that's helped you to feel a bit more welcome, a bit more a part of, just a part, right? Not so, I would imagine, not so foreign.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it was like when I first moved to Beijing, almost it'll be 5 years. Wow, 5 years in August. One of the hardest things for me when I got here is I don't like to feel like a spectacle. And
hmm
so I don't like to be gawked at. I don't like to be touched without my permission, or recorded, or pictures snapped at me without my permission. So all of that happens. Honestly, it still happens. And I wonder, kind of like, what kind of shift in mindset? I noticed you said that there was this a pushing against the inevitable. Like, if you want to survive, you have to just accept that things are not going to be done the way that you're used to. So
hmm
as a Black American man, and I have to make the distinction over here as well, being a Black American and being an African individual, yes, we're all members of the diaspora, but our lived experiences are extremely different, even as Black people living in the same country. Um, I wonder, what kind of mindset shifts do you notice that you had to have as a Black person, a Black man specifically, living in a Dutch country?
Mm, that's a good one. Uh, the mindset shift that I had to take. Well, first I had to understand, you know, so I feel like, especially like racism and things like that. It's so there's racism all over there's racism all over the
Right,
world.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. But the thing is that here it's slightly different.
Mm,
And one of the things that I've noticed is that you know I get treated differently for being like I said, when I have that Black American title versus just African, I
Right.
get treated differently, than, the typical African person does. And, um, I always, everybody kind of looks at me a certain way until I open my mouth. And I kind of have to understand that, um, you know, I don't know. Not everybody's gonna be open. Not everybody's gonna be friendly. Uh, and, not everybody is going to, reciprocate the energy that I put out.
Right.
So I have to go into the mindset of, of indifference, not really caring of, what people do. And I have to kind of move. My mindset is I kind of have to move and not really care about what anybody else around me is thinking or kind of feels. If I get brushed off by somebody or somebody, I say something somebody doesn't like, I kind of have to just stay indifferent about it. I'm not going to show too much emotion. I'm not going to get too upset for something that happens, or if somebody makes a comment that's kind of like off the cuff. I really, I always take a step. I always take a step back and analyze it. I'm not the person who's, snapping at people or
Right.
triggered. I'm not super reactive about stuff. I try to stay neutral and just calm and balanced, and try to how do I say, analyze a situation before I have a hard reaction to it.
I hear that. And I imagine that it's a way that you've learned to be professionally in this setting. I'm wondering, do
Mhm.
you find there are times when, I don't know, what's the question that I'm trying to ask? I know that in spaces where when it comes to things that are corporate, we're often not the majority, right? Even in
Right.
international schools. And having a support system to be able to help you through, decompress, debrief, share. What does that look like as far as having your mental health impacted in spaces where maybe you feel sometimes that you have to be a bit more conscript and measured and not necessarily show up? Well, we can't show up 100 proof at work anyway. Um,
Mhm.
what does the support system look like for you in that regard?
Uh, I would say probably just family and friends back home.
Mhm.
If I, if I have an issue or if I have a problem or something like that, uh, I'm typically calling family back home. I explain the situation, and I try to explain how I feel, how I'm gonna approach it and things like that. And I always get advice, I always get feedback from people. And, obviously it's more so, yeah, you kind of doing the right thing, but I would kind of either, turn it up a notch or take a step back, because sometimes, it's like when, when you take that measured approach and you don't react too soon, and you don't, sometimes I don't react at all. So it's
Mm,
like, because I don't know how to react. I don't know
right.
how I need to take that situation, how I need to handle it. So typically, I reach out to those who know me best, and who have kind of experienced a similar situation, how they would deal with it. So excuse me. So that's kind of how I deal with it. I have friends here, but it's, as far as like being a support system, I don't really rely too much on people here. And it's not to say that, I don't care about none of my friends here or people I've met here, but as extroverted as I am, I'm people come to me for problems. I'm not the type of person to go to other people for problems.
Oh, I'm so
And
glad you said that.
it's weird because it's like I'm really good at, giving the advice out, but when I'm in that situation, I'm like,
What do I
I have the
do?
feeling, yeah, who do I go to? Where do I go to? Of course,
Yeah.
family, but again, they can only help you to a certain extent. So, when I got real problems, who do I go to? So, um, I don't know. That's always been a struggle, but I would say family has probably helped me the most. Just not even them, giving me sound advice, but just being around them, talking to them,
Right.
being on FaceTime, just seeing them
Right.
really kind of helps boost my spirits up and things.
Right. It
So,
feels calming, especially when
mhm.
you deal with the whirlwind of work and life. You honestly just led me right into the next thing that I want to really dive into. And it is that, who do you reach out to when you are in your most ardent time of need? Of again, family can only do so much and they're hella
Mhm.
biased. So
Mhm.
in a good way in most cases, right? So
Mhm.
there's only so much support and security and understanding that they can provide you. And I'm going to frame this from a male perspective. You did state that you're normally the person that people come to for support, to be able to vent to, share with. But when you find yourself in difficult situations, where does that come for you? And I am curious, when you think of like your mental health and therapy, what have been the messages passed down to you, and what would be your current attitudes about seeking external support when you are in need of it?
Okay, so the message passed down to me, I would say, just in my family, it's always been pray, 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 pray,
I think that's a
pray,
Black thing, right?
pray. Yeah, pray. Listen, nothing wrong with prayer, but
Right.
faith without
Works.
works is dead. So it's like you still got to do something. You can't just pray all your problems away. And
Right.
that's always been a message. Get in touch with God and things like that. Okay, I got that connection there, but what I'm doing, what do I need to do? You know. So I would say so that's always been that message passed down.
Mm,
Obviously, my mom, she's always been the person who kind of gives sound advice, but then at the same time, uh, I'm also going through some stuff that she's never experienced before, so she's kind of just giving me her thoughts on it. It's not
right.
necessarily somebody who's been there who really understands the full picture. So it's not like my mom's or like I said, any other family members can just give that real sound advice. So to be honest, I can honestly say, yeah, no, as a man, I just been out here on my own trying to figure it out. And um, you know, I'm starting to learn, just as I progress in life that yeah, you can't do that, especially as a male, you need other males, you need other men, around you, especially those who have experienced it, to kind of help you and guide you and move you through certain situations because men and women are different, and we handle situations different, we take in information different, and if I get a woman's perspective on things all the time, and I'm a man and I'm moving like a man, the majority of the time it doesn't really help.
Mm,
So reaching out, my biggest thing is trying to reach out to men like my peers who are kind of at my level and things like that. So I've been actively trying to find like a mentor or somebody like a coach or a guide, preferably Black, but it doesn't have to be.
mm.
And the second thing is yeah, I probably do need therapy, and you know obviously working on that as well. So that's a work in progress. So that's what I'm finding should be the solution going forward. And I don't know. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. So I can't really say the results of that because it's still a work.
Right. Right.
But that's the solution that I've found per
Okay,
se.
I really appreciate that. I don't even think it's about the outcome. I think it's about the process, right?
Mhm.
Knowing that where you are currently, developing in the way that you are professionally and personally. One of the questions I was going to ask was about, what does chosen family and community look like in terms of support? Because as what I've learned and what other individuals that I've spoken to have learned as Black individuals living outside our home country, we have to create safe spaces for ourselves. And that can
Mhm.
look multicultural, that can look a variety of different ways, but it's necessary as relational people because that's we are with people that exist in relationship, right? It
Mhm.
can become very isolating not to have that familial understanding or a common ground with individuals. And then you add the sometimes complication of mental health. Um, it only exacerbates the need to find what do these community supports and safe spaces look like. So I would
Mhm.
say, I was even going to ask you, like, do you have a mentor? And now that I hear that you're really trying to work on that, I think it's really healthy and it's a great space to move into. And I wonder if you were to impart advice to other young Black men that are in the IT space wanting to move abroad, what would you suggest to them when they, first get there when it comes to being able to take care of their mental health? What would you say?
I would say first, yes, you know, try to find a community of people, try to find a social space. One thing that I didn't do when I first got here was so try to find things, events, and stuff like that to kind of go to that that you're interested in back home. That's I've noticed that well, I waited too long to do it. I should have jumped right into it instead of trying to jump into culture, jump into stuff that you like to do first of all, and then a second thing is, well, there's expats all over the world. Try to find people from America or wherever the home country is. Try to find people out there in groups of people and try to get connected with those people. As soon as you come in, because obviously, with you being fresh and you coming in first, there's still people that have been there, they're farther along on the journey and they're going to be able
Right.
to help you out with that. And, don't matter what they look like, if they
Right.
come from the same place, they're going to have they're going to have sent some experiences and they'll be able to help you, kind of deal with, I guess, the integration aspect of it. As far as, so I would say that would be more of like the safe space, I guess try to find someone that as an expat that you can. And then if you can't find that, yeah, try to attend more social groups, try to connect with people early on. Obviously, you don't need to, I personally don't think that you need to, lay everything out on people, but just having some
Right.
familiarity with people, it kind of helps ease tensions and things like that.
Right.
So that's what I would do. Yeah, that's what I would do.
I appreciate that, right? It's really important. So luckily, places that I've worked out here, I knew people helped me to get out here. So there was already
Mhm.
a foundation of some sort. And then it's really incumbent upon you as a person to figure out how do you extend that so that you can
Mhm.
really enjoy the experience of living abroad. But I definitely have to say, when it comes to like travel, when we could travel, because we
Mhm.
can't travel outside of our city here in Beijing because of the government, and I'll leave it at that. I love to travel alone, right?
Mhm.
I enjoy, I think my first solo trip was to Bali, best place on earth. Um, and it's just really taught me a lot about myself as a person, just growth and development and self-appreciation. And I'm wondering, like, what does travel look like in your sphere over there in that part of the world?
Uh, I'll say it used to be alone. Um, and when I first came, so I did a lot of business trips.
Mhm.
And what I would do is I would kind of piggyback off of the business trips and go to another city. And
Mhm.
I typically did it alone. But the thing is, I've kind of always done things on my own, prior to me coming abroad. So
Mhm.
that wasn't really a struggle for me, as far as, okay, where do I find this? How do I do this by myself? I didn't been out to different cities in the US before I came out. So
Right.
that wasn't a huge issue. You know, now I've, travel buddies, friends, things like that. I tend to go with them. And what I like to do is, so I'm terrible at, planning a trip. So, well, here's my idea. Here's my idea of if I'm going to go see something, or if I go to a new city, it's basically, walk through the city, go to
Yeah.
some restaurants, sightsee, and then once nighttime hits, I'm in a bar. Hi. I'm from America. I'm here. Where are the nice spots to go to and things like that. So that's my idea of of a trip.
Right.
I've noticed that, like, damn near every friend I've traveled with, just to different countries is, they're actually good at the daytime stuff. The bus tours, the city tours, let's go to this mountain over here because I did some research, or this place over here because it's real famous for the city. I was like, oh, okay. Well, you just put me on to something new, because I didn't even care. I wasn't even thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I travel, I try to find people who, who have that mindset of wanting to actually do stuff, and then I plan the party piece.
So you're the party animal. That is so funny.
Mhm.
So let me ask you, I know we've talked about mental health a little bit. That's what I love to talk about, obviously.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you like to do to really take care of yourself on a consistent basis?
So, um, what I've typically done is, I don't know. So I get a lot of brain fog, and a lot on my mind and things. And sometimes I need to take a break,
Mm,
and that's one of the things that's passed down. Work,
yeah.
and sometimes I drive myself to exhaustion. No, yeah, is that a word? Exhaustion? I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
But uh, I've noticed that sometimes I just need to take a break from just everybody, cut everybody off for a period of time. I know people don't like that, but hey, if you want me to, be myself, you want me to be engaging, or who I am, I need some space to kind of just be in my own kind of comfort zone, because I'm always
Yeah.
out here communicating, responding text messages, calling people, I'm all over the place. So I found, obviously, just having some me time has been really, really, helpful for that. Just shoot, I even leave people on red, open messages, just leave it on red. I'll get back to you.
Right.
Don't take it personal. It's just, I need this, I need this time. So that's really been helpful for me. Obviously, getting enough rest, you know, uh, drinking enough water.
Yep.
People take things like that for granted.
Basic needs.
Yeah, you got to get the basic needs. Get out of the house, go take a walk, get active, do something. I found that's been really, really helpful for me. But it's just, you have to actually, well, for me, I have to force myself to do it. And it might be that that situation for others. But if other people are finding themselves in that situation, stop and think. Are you sleeping? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating? And are you taking time to really sit down and reflect?
Mm,
I, I don't know if you know about the strength finders, the Clifton strength finders.
mm.
Uh,
Enlighten
but
me.
so what is it? There's 32 different strengths that people have. And it's something that wasn't, it's not, you're not born with it. You kind of acquired them, over time. And this
Mm,
is just basically how you take on life, how you take on work, how you take on, different things. And, your top 5 to 10, how was it explained to me? Yeah, so your top 5 to 10 strengths are the things that you kind of look at.
mm.
Those are the things that you're best at. But your top 5 strengths are also your top 5 weaknesses. And it's
That
not to
makes sense.
say that, yes. So it's not to say that that your other, that you can't use any other strengths. But it was explained to me, it's kind of like a spectrum. your 31, your 31st and 32nd strength is kind of here. So they're typically your blind spots, and you use them the least, and you kind of move through them. And one of my top 5 strengths was context, and actually that was number 1. So context. Well, I'll just give you my top 5. It was context and learner, restorative, communication, and achiever. So that context piece is that piece where you basically go back and reflect. You go back and you look back into, okay, past actions, past things, and that's how I determine how to move forward. Yes, right. That's how I determine how to move forward. Okay, what's happened in the past, whether it's my personal past or history, just depending on, the context. And then from there, make a decision on, how to move forward. One thing that I've really, really learned is I need to live in my strengths. I need to find you need to find out what you're good at, and you need to live in that, and you need to hit that 100 miles an hour because, that's where your strengths are. And what I'm finding is when I take that me time, and I take that time to say, when I leave people on red and I cut them off temporarily, go back and reflect. When I go back and reflect, I find that, my energy levels pop back up, and I feel refreshed and things like that. And then I'm ready to re-engage the world again. And, it's like clockwork. It's back to normal. So forcing myself to take that time to do that has been really helpful.
I am so appreciative of you bringing that science into the conversation. It kind of reminds me of this concept called selective optimization with compensation, meaning the things that we do well, we do more of. And so that skill is strengthened, it grows over time. And the things that we don't think that we do well, or we're maybe not aware of, or we really haven't spent a lot of time on, it tends to atrophy. So really understanding that there are multiple intelligence, multiple strengths that we all have, and they can look very different than what we've either been socialized to believe, or we even give ourselves permission to believe that we have. So you really just gave me like the title of this particular interview, really looking at your strengths, how do they show up in your life? How do you tap into those on a daily basis is what it sounds like helps you to be able to be more authentic, show up, be refreshed, cognitively well. And that really does begin with having a level of self-awareness and setting boundaries. If you notice that you're not good, or you're kind of emotionally fluctuating, or it's just difficult to do the everyday things. And that's probably time to stop and reflect. All right, what's happening in the world around me, my world internally, and take that time to myself. So I'm glad that you're conscientious about it, and that you're sharing that message. I think a lot of men that I meet and communicate with don't give them, it's very much, let me grind, let me provide, I got to make money. My identity is wrapped up into who I am and what I do, without taking that time to reflect on, how do I feel? And how are my feelings impacting my ability to do these things, to show up for myself, to do the best work possible. And I get the sense that you're either in a space or moving into a space that you are open to a variety of ways of being, and reflecting on how you are in the moment, like you said, in context, that's going to help drive your future. So I really appreciate that. I don't hear that often. I think men are afraid to feel sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that, because we are taught that, to provide, work, do all these different things. But, I think what a lot of men don't realize too is that if you're not in a healthy mental space, you're not going to perform and, provide, work, get this bag, all that stuff. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it effectively. You're not going to do it efficiently. And not only that, but, if you're not in a good mental space with yourself, it's not going to be the same with other people. So you gotta get yourself right before you go approach these situations, because if you get caught up working and stuff like that, and or working too hard or doing all this other stuff, well, first of all, you're gonna burn yourself out, and you're gonna work yourself to death. But
Literally.
then exactly. um, but then the other thing that is gonna happen too is that you know, you just gonna know that the quality, the quality time that you're spending around people is gonna diminish. And people gonna see him, what's wrong with him? Leave. So, check yourself first, check yourself out, get checked out, figure out, well, first of all, you gotta figure out what you're good at. And you gotta figure out, how do you say that? Yeah, you gotta learn about yourself. You gotta learn about who you are. You gotta rediscover yourself, before you can kind of re-engage things. And I don't know, that's kind of been my journey as well, is trying to figure out who I am, because I could tell you I'm not the same person that I was 4 years ago, so.
That's interesting. Well, I think I've asked you that question already. Who would you say you are?
Yeah.
What's I would say, what is one thing that you've realized about yourself that you maybe didn't know previously?
um, that's kind of a hard question to ask, just
A lot of
because
them are, right?
exactly. Well, no, I mean, I've known who I am as a person. I've known that for a long time. It's more so been, okay, really understanding, really,
Mm,
really seeing it, in practice and things like that, just noticing. But I can honestly say too that, um, I guess I'm starting to notice that, like, I'm a lot more anxious than I thought I was. You know, I'm a huge procrastinator, and I'm a huge what else do I do? Yeah, I'm a huge procrastinator, and I put a lot of stuff off. I wait to the last minute, or to start stuff, and then I'm last minute starting on it. Well, I've learned that I think sometimes it comes from fear a little
mm,
bit, because you
yes.
know I'm like, man, you know, for example, if I wanted to, do an interview or get started with something, I'm nervous, because it's like I'm nervous. I'm a little scared. I don't know how it's gonna work and things like that. The biggest place where I've seen it is with the languages.
Mm,
You know, I study, 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 study. I do very, very well when when I talk to tutor, when I'm speaking with my tutors. Oh yeah, you're doing this very well. But when it comes to me approaching a person that I don't know, or a situation that I don't know, and I have to speak Dutch, I have to speak French, whatever, I freeze up. I get nervous, I get scared, and then sometimes I just avoid the conversation altogether. And I'm like, let me just talk English. You speak English. Um, I'm scared. That's the fear, because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to
mm.
screw anything up. And what I notice is, yeah, sometimes I'll stall a situation, or again, I'll wait until I
Have to
have
do.
to do this, because I'm nervous, I'm scared, I don't want to start. And then once I start speaking, I get anxious, I tense up, and then it's like, and I sound like I don't know what I'm saying, but in actuality, I do know what I'm saying. I just need to calm down. It's gonna be cool. If I make a mistake, it's cool. You know, uh, they know it's not perfect, but I gotta really realize that, and take a deep breath, reassure myself, and go into it wholeheartedly with confidence. And that's been one of my struggles. One of my biggest struggles, I would say, just being abroad, is not even the people. That's easy. That's easy. I'm talking about these languages, and approaching people I don't know to speak in them, because that's where the biggest anxiety flares up. And I just, oh, you got this. Come on, man. You know what you're saying. Just it's cool. So I gotta really look back and just really reassure myself.
You said a whole word. Like, as a professional, I would definitely say, obviously, I'm not diagnosing you. You know yourself a lot better than I do. But you said it clearly. When we procrastinate, it's not about laziness. It's not about any inability to do something. It is a way in which to prolong that, or a way in which to not feel those overwhelming negative emotions. So it's a stopgap technique, right? I'm gonna put it off, and then when I absolutely have to do it, I'm gonna bang it out. And it's kind of negative reinforcement to continue the behavior, because we do it so well, right? Because obviously you're skilled, you're talented, you're knowledgeable, you have the ability to get things done. It's just addressing the roots of, what are the thoughts that you're having? What are the fears that are surfacing that get in the way of you showing up fully and doing that in a way that's going to help move you forward? So I would definitely say, explore that. Here's something that I was taught, this little trope, that is so true. The thing that you resist will persist. So the more that you resist this uncomfortable thing, the stronger it's going to grow, right? And the messages that you tell yourself are going to either help move you forward, or they're going to keep you stuck. So you did say that reflecting and encouraging yourself are ways in which to do it. I am an affirmations queen. So if you aren't using, the power of affirmations, affirmative statements on a daily basis, I definitely say start doing that. You can find affirmations anywhere. You can create your own. There are lots of good accounts to follow on IG that are, Black male therapists, or male therapists in general, or women therapists that really speak to that fearful part of yourself, that, because you're obviously high performing, and it's difficult to exist in a space where you're the novice. But really having to understand that the only way that you got to the level that you're at now is to be brand new, and to push through it and identify your strength and your skill set and hone that, and really shift the messages and the narrative attached to these fears. So thank you for saying that. I think a lot of people, they stop themselves from speaking their truth. But what I found is the only way to be able to move forward is to put it out there, right? If it's a secret, it's the thing that's going to stop you. But once you put it out there, you can deal with it. Kind of like Maya Angelou say, when you know better, you do better. So,
yeah, ain't that the truth?
Right. I think that you're really giving a lot of good gems to individuals, expats, men, Black men, and we're almost finished. I would definitely ask you, when you think about the type of community impact that you like to make, be it in, Belgium or back home, what does that look like? Or, have you thought about it?
Exactly. So, I told you I like languages. So one of the huge impacts that I do want to have on the community is just, well, first of all, I want people to kind of, I want people to get interested in language learning, speaking a foreign language. And I say that because, well, first of all, opens up travel opportunities. So,
Yep.
For example, if you know Spanish, I think that's the most widely spoken language as a second language.
Y yo puedo hablar español.
Exactly. No hablo español. No hablo español. But no, I really want people to learn, get interested in learning languages. It helps number one, it helps kind of hone in creativity a little bit, because you got to use different words and phrases and stuff like that in another language, and you think different and stuff like that. But on top of other things, makes you more employable in the market, and I think people will kind of learn that and get a greater experience. So that's kind of one thing that I want to do. Actually, I've been procrastinating for sure when it comes to kind of I want to turn my IG page into a language learning type of vibe, but it's coming. I got all the notes written down and everything.
I was going to say, what you
I gotta put it out there.
Write it down, make a plan.
It's architected. I just got to now. I got to execute. Well, one of the things too, I want to be good. I want to be good myself on the languages. I want to be kind of consistent with that before I start telling people. I don't like to tell people stuff if I'm not doing it myself, you know.
Mm.
So
is that a bit of a perfectionistic attitude? Because in the learning, other people are learning, right? And is it more about the perception of knowledge, or is it more about sharing the journey while you won't be an expert because that's not your native tongue, right? There are levels to it. So it's, follow me along this journey of acquisition and sharing. I mean, I get what you're saying. You want to have a level of knowledge, a level of expertise, but it doesn't have to be perfect. My business coach, she has said this to me over and over and over again. Done is better than perfect. And I'll be like, but, and she's like, no, done is better than perfect. Like nothing is never going to be perfect. If you're seeking that it has to be this, right? You won't put it out there, and then somebody else is going to, and I'm not saying that I will, because I would never do that. Capitalize on your idea. Like you obviously have it in you to share this knowledge as well, these things with people in your community. Start. You can always add to it and build to it as you're going through the process. And you share literally what you're saying right now are the things that you share, because it humanizes the process and it allows people to see, oh, he's not necessarily perfect, but he's at a really good place. He's putting it out that he's trying to create a difference. You don't have to be, we know Bible says you don't got to be perfect. God calls those, have the skill. He delivers them and equips them with it, right? You don't come already fully formed. So I'm so not trying to preach right now, I promise you. But
okay.
You have the idea, give yourself a deadline.
It's crazy. Fifth strength is achiever. So
totally.
Perfectionist.
Like I heard your strengths all through everything that you said. I was like, oh yep, that and this.
Of course. So well, but no.
Go ahead.
There was one thing I did want to add too.
Go ahead.
Been also working. I'm on a board for a nonprofit organization in the States. It's what's it called? Passport for Change. So it's actually reaching out to, the goal is to reach out to Black and Brown youth and try to get them interested in, the world, connect them to the world around them, try to take them out of that, where they're living, and give them a new perspective on life through, people abroad, we want to get them traveling and things like that, but obviously that's some steps down the road. But the initial goal is to kind of engage them, try to get them involved with, get them just kind of used to, having an international mindset. So that's still in the process of taking off there. The founder, she's very, very passionate about this, and asked me to do it. And I was like, I've been thinking about giving back to the community. So that's the way to do it. I really want to give back to kind of the younger generation, behind us. I did it when I was a teenager, going and volunteering at the local mission with the inner city kids and stuff. Yeah. I find great joy putting, putting the young heads on some game, put them on game. So of course. So I try to do that with my nephew as well. He's in college now, and second person out of the family to kind of, he's second person to go to college, and wow. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I was the first, so it's like I'm trying to coach him up. Yeah, so I really like that. So that's something that I want to do.
I appreciate that. Please, send me. Does Passports for Change have a website? Are things still in its infancy? Like where is the organization right now, development wise?
It's coming soon. Website's coming soon. We still working out some, kind of the planning side of things as far as yeah, for the organization itself. So it's still in the planning phases, but passportforchange.org is
Passport.
that's where it'll be once the site's up and things like
Okay.
that. So that should be coming in the next I would say it should be launched by the summer or before the
Okay.
summer.
Okay, well, please keep me posted. I can definitely add it to your show notes once I air this, because I'm trying to decide, do I air July is BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month. And so that's when I'm going to launch like the second season of my show. But I want to continue to offer episodes because I have tons of them already up until that point. So I would definitely love to include that information in your show notes. And if y'all need anybody to talk about mental health and adolescence, that's my shtick. So let me know for sure. But I really appreciate that. So we're almost finished. I would like to know, when you think of, well, you talked about your gifts, you know, and your strengths and how you are kind of holding space to create opportunities for people in your community. But I want to know, like, what are you the most proud of about your journey and decision to become an expat?
I'm most proud of the fact that I actually did it. You know, I came out here and you know, I went forward with everything, because it's crazy. You know, a lot of people talk, and that's one thing that I've learned. You know, uh, oh man, if I got the opportunity, I would love to do this, or yeah, man, I would love. You know, when you out there, I'm gonna come visit you. I'm gonna come visit you.
Okay.
I've had two people. I've had two people physically come out here, and one was my mom, so she had to come out here. But like, come on now. So no, I mean, I know talk is cheap, and you know, people really talk it, but
Yeah.
the fact that I actually did it, because you know, talking to a lot of people, oh no, I could never leave my friends, I could never leave my city,
Family.
you know, I could never leave my family, I need everybody. The fact that you did that by yourself, I would go crazy. And you know, so it's like, okay, wow. I didn't realize how big of a deal this was. You know,
Yeah.
don't be wrong. Before I came, you know, as excited as I was, the days leading up to it, I was nervous. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I didn't know what the future was gonna hold, but I still went
Yeah.
through it. And I could say that, you know, you're gonna have growing pains, but you know, what you get out of it is so much greater than you know, that fear and you know, the growing pains that you have to go through to kind of adjust. So it's gonna get better. So I would say that's my proudest moment, just doing it.
Yeah.
Just do it, like Nike. So
Yeah. Listen, it's honestly that simple. So, okay, are there any final words before we get to the rapid fire questions that you would like to share with our audience today, to kind of cap this amazing discussion that we've had?
yeah, so audience, uh like I just previously mentioned, you know, if there's something that you really want to do, or that inspires you, or that you have an interest in doing, do it. Try. You know, don't be afraid to fail. You know, when I played football in high school, what they used to say was, you know, if you're going to, you know, if you're going to do it wrong at 100 miles an hour. And because here's the thing, they can coach, you know, if you're doing it 100 miles an hour, you're giving all your effort, but you're doing the wrong thing, they can coach that and fix that. But if you're not giving all your effort, you're not putting your all into it, you know, they don't know how to coach you. So
Right.
you need to do that yourself. And if you fail, if you go 100 miles an hour and you fail, you're also failing early. You know, you fail it early and often. So, okay, you know, you might try one thing and then you know, hit it hard and then realize it's not for you, but you just saved yourself a lot of time, you know, for that. You save yourself a lot of time. So that's really, really important. And, you know, with every new opportunity, every new experience, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to engage it, you know, because there's always something that you can, you know, there's always something that you can take away from an experience, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. There's something that you could take away from it and learn from it, and help you become a better person, you know. help you understand or help you recognize situations, experiences, things. Hey, I don't like that. You know, no, I see that from a mile away. I'm good. Or, oh, yes, I know exactly about this. And, you know, you want to engage it. So try to find that something that you could take away from an experience. Don't just look at it as, oh, you know, it was terrible and be talking about it for a whole week. Find that piece that, you know, you'll take with you for the rest of your life, because isn't that what life is about? You know, people, sharing connections with people. So do that.
Go for it. Like, every opportunity is a growth opportunity, a learning opportunity. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're gonna shift now to these. I only have a few, you know, rapid fire questions. What's one thing that you love about yourself?
It's crazy. One thing that I like about myself too is that so remember how I told you about the whole context situation? Well, sometimes what I'll do is like I'll leave some notes or something, or I'll write something down. I'll forget about it, and then I always end up coming right back to them. Like, dang, Harry, why you listening to yourself? You bad. You got this already. You know what you're doing. You know. So I like that. I like that I'm goofy. So that I try to not take situations too serious. And I would consider myself to be very, very not, I guess, neutral, not unbiased. I'm unbiased. So yes, I do have my own bias. I do have biases, but like I try to stay neutral and I try to stay unbiased. And I think that's what people like about me, is that I don't hold grudges or handle situations where it's like, you know, I don't take a side unless it's like, okay, yeah, okay, this person's right, this person's wrong. So
a moral issue.
Yep. So we ain't going there, but there's plenty of them.
I'll leave that. I'll leave because I can go so many places with these questions that I ask. Trust me. So thank you for setting that boundary. I'm curious, what do you love most about your culture?
My culture as an American, my culture is like
whichever one you identify with most.
Being Black, you know. Well, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna answer it to, you know, how it comes. So I would say on a macro level, I like so people say that Americans don't have culture, and I like to challenge that because that's not true. And you know, I think that people, especially Black people in America, especially Black people in the US, we don't have no culture. This isn't our country. That is not true. That is very much your country, and you need to be proud of that. I know we have history. I know there's a bad history, but everybody has a bad history. Everybody has a bad culture. We need to bask in it, and we need to, you know, embrace it and move forward, because the world stage looks at us and they look at us as, you know, they look up to us. And I don't think a lot of people really understand. And I'm really proud of that I can go places and, you know, whether it's the music, the entertainment industry, or just, you know, being Black in America, people want to know how we dealing with it. People want to know how it is. So I really, really love, you know, I really, really love being Black on top of that, being from the States. So I can actually give, you know, a perspective of America, and also, you know, how I move as a Black person and, you know, throughout society. So I love it.
Black with a capital B, for sure. What book are you reading right now?
What book am I reading? I'm actually reading 2 books. So one is the 48 Laws of Power. So I've heard a lot of Robert Greene.
Okay.
So I've heard a lot of negative things about it because it's, you know, it's seen as manipulative and deceptive and things like that, because it's 48 laws of power. It's how to get power. But what a lot of people don't realize too is that, you know, I'm always about knowledge and, you know, learning things. learning how things work. So even positions that I disagree with. And this book is something that I think is really, really important because, you know, you can guard yourself as being manipulated against, somebody trying to, get power over you. So that's the way that I see it. The second book I'm reading is, it's actually in Dutch. It's the Stoic, the art of living Stoic, so that you're can be happy and for happiness and wisdom. Sorry, it's in Dutch, so I'm trying to translate it the best that I can. So yeah, it's about stoicism. So I'm reading that. So that's about kind of how to manage your emotions and the stages of it. They're talking about philosophy, the philosophers like Socrates and things like that. How to how to kind of handle the good and the bad. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now.
That's very interesting. So my last question is, what inspirational quote or affirmation or saying would you like to share to end our conversation?
I think I'm gonna keep that one short. Just do it. Just do it. I like Nike's quote, but it really is it holds a lot of power and it holds a lot of weight to it. Like, don't be afraid to try anything. Get out there, do it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Talk is cheap, and trust me, everybody's gonna talk about you regardless. So you might as well go ahead and do it anyway. Because the thing is that there's a lot of doubters out there, and they're gonna tell you, don't do it, don't because they want to keep you in that same the same level as they are, because they just as scared as you are. Right. So get out there and show them, and be that person. I've done it too many times, to where I wouldn't do that. You're crazy. Something's wrong with you. No, no, no. And the next thing you know, I do it. And then they coming back to me like, oh, hey man, so remember how you do this, how you do that? Oh, okay. I see how this went. So I recognize that.
Yes. Do not let people put their fears on you, folks. Okay. When you notice that, go the other way for sure. Well, Harry, I want to say thank you so much for imparting knowledge, sharing your journey, and just spending the wee hours of your morning with me, the Black and Abroad audience. And for everyone that is watching, I want to thank you for tuning into Black and Abroad once again. I encourage you to keep taking risks, keep impacting your communities, and as always, make sure you prioritize your mental health. Please share this in your communities. That is how we are able to spread the message and the word, and share our lived experiences with everyone. And with that, I am going to say thank you and peace out, people.
Peace. Take it easy.